In Dandadan, transformations aren't just about power-ups. They're about identity, trauma, and more. First off, we have Turbo Granny. Every single form of hers changes her power drastically, which makes me think, how many more powers can she acquire if she keeps transforming? Turbo Granny is a yokai who once haunted a tunnel in Shono City, until everything changed when she encountered Momoayase in Okarun. In her original form, she looked like a twisted old woman, reddish brown, wrinkled skin, wild white hair, and piercing yellow eyes. Anyone unlucky enough to be possessed by her would transform into a grotesque copy, complete with her oversized mouth and sharp, jagged teeth. She was a humanoid and basically runs fast and hits hard, apart from stealing the genitals of young boys. Her powers didn't stop there though. When she fused with the earthbound spirit crab, the creature's body warped to resemble her own. Its eyes turned a menacing yellow, and even strands of her hair sprouted, echoing Turbo Granny's unsettling appearance. She could probably devour a whole town full of people with just one charge in this form. Eventually, after being extracted from Okarun, she lost her body entirely and had no choice but to inhabit a Maneki Neko doll. Oddly enough, this new vessel came with a twist. Living in the doll granted her the power to bestow good luck on others. This raises the question, can Turbo Granny gain more powers by changing her form? Okarun. His transformations completely reshape his body on the outside, but what's happening to him within, this part is not explained. Ken Takakura is one of the main characters in Dandadan. He started out as a nerd. He's a teenager, kind of on the shorter side, with a slim build and a pair of round glasses that make him pretty recognizable. When he taps into Turbo Granny's powers, he unlocks his turbo form. His whole look changes. His hair shoots up and turns white. 2 bold vertical stripes appear across his eyes, and he sometimes sprouts this eerie black jaw full of sharp teeth. Interestingly, that jaw mask doesn't always show up. He gets super speed, reflexes, and strength, strong enough to even one-shot some powerful monsters. Things got even crazier during the Danmata arc. Ken pushed himself way past his limits, using Turbo Granny's abilities even after going all out twice. That ended up unlocking a feral form. His hair grew longer and wilder. His glasses twisted into a new shape, and the jaw mask became even more vicious. He became animalistic and fought like a beast. After he lost his powers at the end of Danmata arc, we thought he'd go back to his weak state. But thanks to training and the battles he had until now, he built up a more toned, athletic body and basically became an enhanced nerd. During the physical test, we see the changes that Okarun has gone through. He aces the physical tests easily, coming out on top in every single one. It might be possible that all the transformations were refining his body from within, removing his weaknesses, and making him something better than human. Now with the Ogre Club as his new weapon and some new training, Okarun might unlock his future form, the strongest form yet. Acrobatic Silky. Silky is probably the only yokai whose form was less about her abilities and more about her backstory, and it's not a pleasant one. She's a yokai who has been haunting Aira Shiratori ever since she was a little girl. Back when she was a human, she looked pretty ordinary. Fair skin, brown eyes, and long black hair. But her life was far from easy. She was buried in debt and had to juggle multiple jobs just to get by, working as a prostitute, a janitor, and even at a convenience store. Things spiraled out of control when the men she owed money to showed up at her home. They beat her, and even worse, kidnapped her child. That crushing despair pushed her to jump from a rooftop, ending her life, and that's when she transformed into a yokai. As Acrobatic Silky, her appearance changed completely. Her skin turned grey, her limbs stretched unnaturally long, and her narrow face took on hollow eyes with a chilling permanent smile. She painted her long fingernails bright red, the same shade as her toenails, and always wore a wide-brimmed hat. The most haunting is she always dressed herself in a red dress, the very same one she had once bought for her daughter, and she used her acrobatic skills and her hair to tear apart her victims. Aira Shiratori. As a human, she was flawed, but getting haunted by Acrobatic Silky and gaining the yokai powers might be a blessing, not just in terms of strength. Aira is another human of the normal human high school students at Kami High who became one of Momoayase and Okarun's main allies. She's presented to be an attractive young girl with short pink hair. She usually wears her school uniform. Initially, she pretended to be a sweet, innocent girl but was actually vain, arrogant, and insensitive. She might have developed these negative traits because she lost her mother at a young age. Aira gets yogai powers and got her spirit transformation after Acrobatic Silky sacrificed her life and gave her aura to Aira. When she uses Acrobatic, Silky's powers are form changes with her hair increasing in volume. She also gains a mask that resembles the yokai's face. And maybe, just maybe, the weight of Silky's tragedy would push her to become a true hero. Because in my opinion, the biggest change Aira got with the transformation is the change in her mindset. Gigi and Evil Eye. One started as a villain, and the other started as a good guy. And the final transformation for both of them is the same. And it might not be good news for humanity. Originally, before becoming an evil spirit, it was just a child. All he wanted was to play with kids he watched through the window of his prison. He had a surprising amount of empathy too. He even tried to rescue another boy who was about to be sacrificed just like him. But when the attempt failed, everything changed. His grief and rage twisted him into a vicious spirit form, filled with nothing but hatred for humanity. From then on, he sought to kill every human he encountered. His appearance reflected that transformation. He grew taller, more sinister, and far removed from the innocent-looking child he once resembled. He could haunt people in this form, to the point it drove Gigi out of his own hometown, and it was strong enough to tangle with Tsuchinoko. Then came Gigi's possession, showing its true powers. His hair turned stark white, a third eye opened in the middle of his forehead, and his regular eyes glowed yellow. A dark, jagged mark spread across his face and down his shoulders, giving him a terrifying new look. Even his earrings warped, stretching into longer shapes. At first, every possession shredded Gigi's clothes, leaving him in nothing but his underwear. But that stopped once Evil Eye, in a strange act of generosity, gave Okarun his underwear. It became fast, strong, and powerful enough to even keep up and almost body Okarun. He played around with Tsuchinoko with the grudge balls and physical attacks, but Gigi lost complete control of his body here. Eventually, Gigi and Evil Eye learned to work together, creating a hybrid form. By switching between Gigi's humanity and Evil Eye's possession, they could harness both sets of powers. The most noticeable change in this state was the eye mark becoming a circle, with two distinct stripes running across Gigi's face through his eyes. But still, there is a chance, just like how Evil Eye is being influenced by Gigi's good guy nature, the opposite can also happen. Gigi could be one bad day away from becoming a villain. Next up is Mai Kawabanga. She might be the only yokai that had multiple forms just like Turbo Granny. But instead of a vicious grudge or destructive power, her forms show some completely different emotions. She was the childhood friend of Ren Sawaki who died from a car accident. As a child, Mai had short hair with bangs that fell over the right side of her forehead, and she always wore a ribbon on top of her head. Her outfit was simple but cute, a long-sleeve shirt layered with a sweater, paired with a skirt and black knee socks. Sadly, after her death, she transformed into an ombudsman-type yokai, bound to Ren. In her ombudsman form, Mai's appearance was far from human. She became a large, unsettling creature with a bulb-shaped head, a distorted face, the body of a turtle, and even a big, hairy tail. This monstrous look stayed with her until her spirit was finally cleansed. Once that happened, Mai returned into a much gentler form. As a guardian spirit, she first appeared as a teenage version of herself, dressed just like she was when she was alive. Later, she took an even smaller, more whimsical shape, a tiny creature with a turtle head, a bow on top, and a cute animal-like face beneath the turtle's head. Her little body had short, stubby limbs, giving her a more playful and harmless look. Unlike other yokai that only let go of their grudges after humans got their powers, Mai was different. Just the cleansing and acceptance from Mai changed her form and her nature as well. Ren Sawaki. She's probably the only one with the most useful and least useful transformation at the same time. Ren is a student at Crone Hi and also serves as a class representative for Class C. Over time, she steps up as one of Momo and Okarun's key allies. She's a girl of average height with brown hair and matching brown eyes. She usually wears her hair in pigtails with bangs that cover her forehead, and she's almost always seen with her glasses on, dressed in her school uniform. As a regular girl, Ren isn't useful at all. The only purpose she served was to move the story forward by introducing a new yokai into the mix. But things got a lot flashier when she activates her spirit transformation. When she merges with her guardian spirit, Mai, in this form Ren takes on the look of an idol, but with a twist. She wears a bikini-style costume with a turtle shell-themed bra. Along with matching knee and shoulder pads, a massive spiked turtle shell rests on her back. And her outfit is completed with long gloves, thigh-high boots, a small tie, and a bow perched on top of her head. To top it all off, Mai transforms into her microphone, making the whole look both battle-ready and performance-worthy. This transformation also gives her the ability of gravity control with a catch. She must continue to sing to keep her powers active. We saw her use this ability when they were fighting the Headless Dribblers. she also used those abilities to help save the people who were stuck in Danmara. Futa Zuma. The only transformation in the show that I wish didn't happen. But if it didn't happen, we would have missed out on a whole arc of the story. Futa was a younger brother of Anji Zuma, and after his untimely death, he became the yokai known as Umbrella Boy. As a child, Futa had a shaved head and dressed simply, usually in a long-sleeved shirt and shorts. What stood out most about him were the rain boots and umbrella he always carried, both precious gifts from his mother. After his tragic death, Futa's spirit transformed into Umbrella Boy, a yokai with a rather scary appearance. His form resembles a cyclops with a single large eye and a mouthful of exposed teeth. Instead of a normal body, his head connects directly to a giant leg wearing a geita sandal. Most of his body remains hidden beneath a huge umbrella, with only a small opening at the front where his monstrous features peek through. Technically, Futa didn't deserve any of it. His story was probably the darkest of all yokai backstories. But if that tragedy didn't happen, Anji wouldn't have been impacted. Anji Zuma. His power stirred with the Kintama, but the fairy tale card yokai rewrote the story entirely. Anji is a regular human who goes to Renjaku High, but he's not your average student. He's also the leader of a gang made up of outcasts from different schools. His life took a wild turn the moment he got his hands on Okarun's Kintama, which awakened his powers. Appearance-wise, his hair is short, with the sides shaved, and two bold yellow stripes run across it. He's got a bit of a stubble, a pierced left eyebrow, and stud earrings to top it off. Style-wise, he usually throws on a dark, long sleeve under a collared shirt and walks around in geita sandals. He was a delinquent with a gang following him around, so you can say he's physically stronger than a regular Joe, but not by too much. Still, things get intense when he taps into his spirit transformation with Umbrella Boy powers. He gets a creepy mask that hides most of his face, showing only his left eye and part of his forehead. The mask itself is scary. Spiked teeth, a jagged chin, and a strange cover over his right eye. He can use the umbrellas twice that could blow shockwaves with wind force, but his stamina is very limited in this form. The real transformation, Unleashed Umbrella Boy mode, came when he got possessed by the fairy tale card at the end of Danmara. That's when he started looking almost identical to Umbrella Boy. His head gets encased in a helmet shaped like Umbrella Boy's face, complete with a target-like eye in the middle and a gaping toothy mouth. In this form, he doesn't have to worry about his stamina or limiters, mostly because he doesn't have any control over his powers at all. Reiko Kashima. She's one of the few yokai whose human form outshines her monster form. She's also known as a slit-mouthed woman and is one of the most important yokai in existence. She's tall, with muscular arms and legs. Her most distinguishing feature is her extremely wide mouth, which has rows of sharp teeth. She also wears heavy makeup, with mascara around her eyes and lipstick for her mouth. Her nails are colored dark. She also has long black hair which is tied with a bow and wears a crown on her head. The funny thing about her mirror is, it's not just some accessory for checking a reflection. It's actually a weapon. Anyone who gets caught in its reflection can be trapped inside it instantly. She actually used this to trap and destroy the entire Kura army. Without makeup, she looks completely different. Momo and Gigi even note that she's remarkably beautiful. Her head is nicely shaped, and all weird facial features are less prominent. She even looks more human with normal eyes and long eyelashes. Even her mouth is normal. We still don't know what she could do in this form, but she was definitely less scary and murderous towards the MC group. Vamola. This character's forms made me want to curse out the author. They are the only point in Dandadan that felt like lazy writing, but even that was done in a peak way. Vamola is actually a Sumerian, the last surviving child of her race. She made it to Earth after barely escaping the invasion that wiped out her home planet. At first glance, she looks a lot like a regular human girl, slim build, short blonde hair, but the antennas on her head give away her true origins. I mean, the author couldn't have thought about any other way to show that she's alien. But even with the antenna, what really sets her apart though is the exosuit she carries. It was a gift from her adoptive mother, Banga, and it's shaped like a dinosaur. The suit isn't just for show, it can grow to massive sizes, turn invisible, and even mimic clothing she can blend in. The suit was the key reason why she was able to escape the core in her planet. But it was also the reason that she had to get in a fight with the MC's gang more than once. Quick question, who do you guys think is the MC, Momo or Okarun? There's one more thing about it. The suit, it has a hidden mode. When slaughter mode activates, the exosuit takes on a terrifying new look, far more monstrous, feral, and enormous than before. That's when Vamola truly becomes a force to be reckoned with. Up next are Kinta's mech forms. Imagine having a form that makes the main character into a sidekick. The Great Kinta mech suit actually comes with 3 different forms of its own. The first one is this massive robot modeled after Buddha. It's big, calm looking, and kind of majestic. He first activated it to fight with Vamola, who was in her kaiju suit. This form went down easily when Vamola attacked it. The second form is more combat ready. Buddha puts on glasses, and the whole design shifts to look tougher and battle focused. Then there's the third form, the Great Kinta itself, which takes on a much sleeker, Gundam-style appearance. Those 2 forms were more suited for combat and helped the gang actually fight back against Vamola. Later on in chapter 188, we even get to see a smaller version of the Kinta suit. This one pops up during Kinta and Okarun's fight against Hase and one of the Corps. It's basically a mini version of the Great Kinta with the same design but scaled down. And here's where it gets really wild. When things started going south and it looked like Okarun and Kinta were about to lose, they decided to merge their suits. The result was a combined mech where Kinta literally stands on Okarun's shoulders, giving them a brand new powerhouse form. And this crude form actually helped them take down Hase with his jumping crone powers. Hase. Honestly, all the forms that Hase goes through are just there to build up Okarun. He is a human, one of the students at Crone Hi, and he used to be one of Okarun's bullies. He's got medium-length brown hair, usually parted down the middle, and you'll almost always see him in school uniform. He was a typical school bully, but once Okarun activated his enhanced nerd face, he beat Hase in physical tests, making him feel small and want to overcompensate. Things take a sharp turn when he gets his hands on an Ashura knife, which grants him the powers of the Jumping Crone, activating his Jumping Crone spirit transformation. Like most yokai transformations, this comes with a mask, only it looks quite terrifying. It's got horns jutting from the forehead, a gaping dark mouth, and rows of sharp, menacing teeth. The transformation doesn't just stop there. His hair flares up like fire, his nails darken, and his legs bulk up with insane muscle. On top of that, the soles of his feet sprout spring-like systems, built for superhuman jumps. To tie it all together, he even gets a dark scarf wrapped around his neck, making the whole look even more sinister. His powers were very similar to Turbo Granny's in this form. He can jump high, move fast, and pack a punch. He used these powers to attack a powerless Okarun in order to get revenge on him. But Okarun still bodied him with some itty-bitty nanoskin. Pyasi. This guy's transformation basically satisfied my fantasy to see how Shikamaru would be if his shadow powers evolved. Pyasi is a cursed object collector and also Kashimoto's right-hand man. On the surface he looks pretty ordinary. Short, side-parted hair, heavy dark eye bags, and his usual outfit, a hoodie layered under a dark jacket. But things get way more sinister when he gets into his shadow form. His whole body becomes warped in a cloak of darkness, twisting him into a terrifying humanoid figure. In this form, he's got horns jutting from his head, a beak-like mouth, eerie slit eyes, and long stretched-out limbs that end in 3 sharp talons on both hands and feet. He even hunches over as if the weight of that darkness is pressing down on him, with a trail of shadows constantly leaking out from his back. This transformation isn't just for looks though, it's deadly in combat. It allowed Pyasi to slip through the shadows and even attack with spikes made from shadows in his fight against Minotaur and the Jiangshi that ambushed him, Kashimoto and Seiko. Tsuchinoko worm. This highlights one of Dandadan's biggest flaws. Brilliant monster designs that vanish too quickly. The Tsuchinoko in Dandadan isn't your average Mongolian death worm. It's actually a monstrous version that the Kido family treated almost like a sacred being. Normally it shows up as this gigantic worm with a serpent-like body covered in spots, a gaping mouth ringed with creepy tentacles, and rows upon rows of razor teeth. And unlike the typical Mongolian death worm, which only grows to around 2 meters, this one is absolutely massive. But here's the weird part. It actually has a second form, the dehydrated form. If it's exposed to sunlight, the creature shrivels up, dries out and looks like it's done for. But all it takes is a little water and boom, it comes right back to life. The Kido family used this trick to smuggle the Tsuchinoko worm onto the aircraft and unleashed it during the fight. Mantis Shrimp. He might look tough, but there's one weakness to his power-up form that could cost him everything. He actually started out as one of the bad guys during the Serpo arc. He was a hired fighter working for the Serpo with the goal of capturing Okarun. But after the gang ended up helping him out, he switched sides and became more of a supporting ally. In his normal form, he's got this wild mix of features. a crab's head sitting on top of a muscular human-like body. His eyes even switch back and forth between crab-like and human-like, which makes him look even stranger. He does have a human disguise though. In that form, he just looks like a middle-aged man with a serious expression, except he's wearing a hat shaped like his own crab head. When things get serious, he has a full transformation. His entire body changes. His head turns into something much closer to a mantis shrimp, complete with glowing green eyes, a second pair of wide eyes above those, and long antennae that flash whenever he speaks. Around his neck, there's this collar-like structure, and even his arms shift into mantis shrimp-style appendages that double as shields. This form increases his punch speed and power when underwater tremendously, but with a catch. If the punches are thrown outside water, it would completely destroy his own arms. The funny part? Even though he's clearly built for underwater combat, he actually can't breathe underwater. On top of that, his transformation only lasts for 24 seconds, unless he chugs a Serpo energy drink, which boosts that limit to a crazy 24 hours out of nowhere. There's another form of mantis shrimp, but it's actually a combination of 3 beings: Serpo, Nessie, and mantis shrimp. It removes one of the main weaknesses of mantis shrimp, which is his inability to breathe underwater, making this a powerful form. But transformations are just one piece of the madness. If you really want to understand Dandadan, you need to meet the 6 species that shaped its world.